to Brave Girls with Tracy M, Season 4, which I'm calling Smart Money. And this is a podcast series where women are going to share their real stories behind how they earn it, grow it, and navigate it. I'm Tracy M, and each week we'll go beyond the numbers to have honest conversations with women who work in the financial services industry about their careers, their challenges, and their personal journeys with money. We'll also talk to women who've written books about money. And so, because money isn't just about spreadsheets or stock markets, it's about power, confidence, opportunity, and sometimes overcoming systems that weren't built with us in mind. Whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, building wealth, or just trying to feel more in control of your finances, this season is here to give you perspective, insight, and a reminder. There's not just one way to be smart with money. So let's get into it. So good morning. Today I have a very, very good friend of mine, my friend from Threads, Coach Arushi. And I'm so excited to have her on the show. She is also a ICF certified coach at the PCC level. She's had a very illustrious corporate career in product management, agile transformation, program management, leadership development, enterprise technology, and now she has her own coaching practice as well as a tech company. And so she's a wife, a mother, and she's really passionate around personal growth, human potential, and the journeys that shape who we become. And so I'm really excited to have her on the show today as part of our Smart Money series. And I want to kind of explore some of her beliefs that she has around money, everything from growing up to transitioning into the corporate world, transitioning into being an entrepreneur, and then also in her coaching work with her clients. So, welcome to the show, Coach Arushi. Is there anything I missed in your bio that you want folks to know about you, or is that?
So I think we've got it covered.
That's
Thank
great. That's
you.
great. So tell us a little bit about your experience growing up, where you grew up, sort of anything that was of note as you were growing up as a woman, around money.
Yeah. Well, thank you first of all for having me here. It's a privilege to go back and having a conversation with you because we rocked it when we did it the first time, and I'm like so excited to be here to be with you in this conversation. Now, where I come from India. I was born in northern part of India, and the relationship with money and that angle. So we were four kids, okay? Two working parents, middle class family. Sure, things are difficult, right? It's not that money was in abundance for me, but it was never that it was super tight for me. I was made aware. So there was very clear boundaries of what it is that one can have, what it is one cannot have. So there was a very clear guideline. And the not have is what, as a childhood, in your childhood as a child, you remember the nots, right? You don't remember I had the abundance. I got the Barbie doll that I wanted, even though it took me a few months or whatever, or Diwali or whatever came around, and that's when I got it. But it's the not that I had to wait 3 months for. You know what I mean? So I grew up with that thought process, with that mindset of where is my boundary? Now, in a hindsight, I think it was a good thing because it get me to sort of define, my career, my growth into what is it that is not, and then how do I push forward? How do I take those 3 months and propel myself forward? So those things really helped me as I grew up. Now, coming into the States, right? Migrating after my high school, we moved here. My parents moved here. At that time, there was a different relationship I had with money because moving as an immigrant here, starting completely fresh, my parents had just recently retired from their jobs. So clearly they're in their age where they can't really do a whole lot of hard work, right? I think very immediately within the first month or so, I had my first job at what was it? Kohl's, and then
Okay.
Target, and then
Mhm.
Target, and then Kmart, if you remember that,
Right.
because they closed out. So the relationship with money at that time, so in the adolescence, in my sort of impressionable years, what it was my hours are equal to the paycheck,
Right.
right?
Trading. Right.
Exactly. So it's
Hours for
trading.
dollars. It's trading, right? Hours for dollars.
Exactly. So this is me. So when we talk about money, I didn't understand a dollar to a cent to a quarter to a dime, right?
Right.
Sure, I was working at Target. I was doing the cash register. Of course, I learned things. But this is where this relationship almost became anew for me, right? Like I said, it's the barter, it's the amount that I'm doing, it's what I'm getting back in return.
Right.
Uh, I think it was a very interesting phase again because there were a lot of learnings that I did in this. One thing I learned, it was interesting. I chuckle because I said, well, if Target is paying me $12 an hour, Kmart is paying me 15, I might go there. Or a Wegmans, if I'm going to do icing, I get another five extra dollars an hour. So that relationship was an interesting one because now I realize that I think I could define my worth in some cases, in some ways. Not that I went out my bounds, I should have, but I didn't because again, you know, girls, you're grown up with this mindset of be a good girl, try to follow the route, the laws of the land and whatnot. Anyway, um, but that's the learning that I took with me. And then I slowly and gradually, as my 4 years progressed into my engineering, I started working at different places, sometimes in the university, sometimes outside. My last one was at a call center. That's where I grabbed my accent from. Because here I had the variety of people I'm talking to, all kinds of
Right.
people and all kinds of, conversations one is doing, and I'm learning a lot of it. But my money relationship at that time was I learned how to make more out of my hour that I'm spending. I thought that was really fun.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, I think what you've just shared is it's sort of the evolution and the build, right? And the foundation. And then, when you're a child, your needs are being provided for by your parents, right? And their relationship with money and whatever their profession is. And, being my parents were both teachers, right? So
Mm.
we were living on teacher salary, two
Right.
teachers, right? And so
Yeah.
you wouldn't get the Barbie if if you might have to
If
wait,
it's
like you
not
say,
Christmas.
exactly,
Exactly.
yeah, wait till a holiday or a birthday, and so you
Yeah.
learned that you have to kind of stay within like certain bounds, like
The
you said.
bound.
And then
Hmm.
like the retail job, like my first jobs were like camp counselor and waitress, right?
Uh-huh.
Was also, well, I started as a hostess and then I went to waitress because I could make more money in the same amount of like time, right? Because it was a
There
time
you go.
relationship,
There
right?
you go.
And
I
then
get
you
it.
get your degree and you go out into the workforce and you're going to start at the bottom, right? Like it's just, you're going to start at like a basic level. But then you see these people around you in corporate and their fancy cars and their fancy clothes, and you sort of say, "Oh, what?" And then I did a whole thing where I was like, "What do I have to do to get that?" Right? Like, what do they have that I don't have? Oh, they have a master's degree. Oh, they have a
Look at that.
certificate. Yeah. And so, always thinking like, how did they get there and what was their story? And so, really
Yeah.
looking for those guideposts along.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So for me, that reference point came much later. It actually came after my firstborn. I was working in DC, the Federal Election Commission, as a
Mhm.
contractor. And I saw people's cubicles with like all kinds of very decorative photos, the whales, the plants, the whatever. And I'm like, how do you get that? Like how could I be that, right? I
Right,
like that. Oh, and then I saw somebody sitting in an office and they could actually shut the door. And I'm like, ooh, what's going on there? I want to be there, right?
right,
Or when I moved from there and went into a bigger corporation like a Booz Allen, like a Northrop, right? And then there are these town halls where all these big leaders are talking big talk, and I'm like, how do you become that?
right.
Relationship with money also sort of evolved with that, right? At that point, again, the barter system was very, very well understood in my body that it is what I'm putting on the table, it is what I'm getting in return. Fair.
Mhm.
Um, I thought at the time, for the longest time, actually about 15 years of my career path has been corporate job, rising the ladder, doing good work, getting the promotions, being very authentic about your job, doing what I love. That's one thing I really do appreciate and you know say thank to my parents for is, especially my mom, it was always about what you love. Do what you love and you'll do good at it, right? So I always found ways wherever whatever I'm doing, if I'm liking, if it goes back with my values and my I guess aptitude, I'll take
Yes.
that, right? And so it was still very much growing up the corporate ladder because that's what I thought, that that's how you get that cubicle, that's how you get to stand on the stage and talk big numbers. 15 years,
Yeah, that
right?
makes sense.
Two
Well, and
children's later,
yeah,
right?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and bless your mom for that guidance because so many people don't get that guidance. I give that guidance to my students as a professor all the time. And
Yeah.
when they start to struggle about what to be in their major and things of that nature, I'm like, what is your aptitude? What is it that you like? What brings you joy? What are you naturally good at? Like make college easy for you and do that and go really deep in that, and
Yeah.
then that will lead you to a job that will allow you to use those same skills,
Exactly.
right? But so many
Exactly.
people don't get that guidance, so that's really really great that she gave you that. And yeah, I
Oh,
think corporate also, like, I don't know if your experience was this way because I also worked at Northrop Grumman and some of those other
yeah.
places. And yeah, and you look at the leaders, right, and you say, how
Yep.
do I become the leader, and what is it that they're doing, and how are they coming across authentically, that I trust
Mhm.
them and I believe them, right? And I'm
Mhm.
sure some of that might have played into your desire to become a coach, right? Because that is a natural fit, right, in leadership.
Only,
Yeah.
only if I was listening to myself, right? Because remember, I'm smitten by this environment of fancy offices. I'm like all about
Right.
it, right? I'm
Right.
this little girl in me who's like, that's my Barbie doll now. That's where I want to go, right? So I was very smitten with it. And like I said, the 15 years of my career, that's where I was. I was like, corporate job, promotion, 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 and I would get my promotions, right? I would go after it,
Right.
and I would make sure that I get it. Great. But when it came to, and I think coaching sort of came almost literally by accident.
Hmm.
I think it was God willing, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I was walking down a hallway. This coach of mine I had barely said hello to, and a few times, and we just happened to cross paths. And she goes, "Hey, do you want to try this?" And I was like, "And me, yes, try, always yes, always yes."
Hmm.
And I said, "Sure." And there it was. I did one session, two sessions. Third, I was like, "Let's do it. I like it." Um, but to be honest with you, Tracy, my first month in coaching, and my coaches can actually attest to that, they hated me. I hated it too because I couldn't understand a damn thing about it. It was hard. It was hard in the beginning, right? It was hard
Hmm.
for me to really say, corporate job, take that mask off, now get into the real root of understanding humans, understanding what has been hidden in me for the longest time. Remember, I had closed that tip off, right? So it
Right.
was it was fear for me to chip all of that off and actually expose myself to myself.
Is that because of your path in corporate was very left brain, engineering, software development, project management, agile, like the way
Exactly.
of thinking and the training, and where you excelled in your background was really in that technology space where you
Exactly.
have to be very organized, and it's not about the soft skills. It's about charge, 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 deadline,
Go,
deadline,
go, go, go,
deadline,
go. Yeah.
milestone, meet the milestone,
Yep.
through the critical path, like all of those things that are wonderful and need to happen when you're doing some kind of a technology transformation or data
Yep.
transformation. And you were, in the thick of all of those, either with clients as a consultant or for the company or the organization, right? So
Mhm.
that's really interesting. That's really
It was,
interesting.
I don't, and now in the hindsight, I can tell you that I did not want to see me, right? And that's where the 3 months of first coaching learning was the hardest for me, or the hardest for my teachers as well, because they're like, why is this girl not opening up? And I wouldn't want to do it because I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of exposing my inner child, inner dancer,
Yes.
inner being to myself. Forget the world. Like I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking myself.
Right, right.
And that was daunting.
Well, because I think in those other roles, you have to be made of steel. almost.
Indeed.
You
Indeed.
have to be,
Exactly.
in order to be successful,
Exactly.
right? Like
Exactly.
the most successful people that I know, they don't expose their vulnerabilities, like, but they're fabulous at marching,
Masking it.
masking it, but also marching the program or the project, whatever you want to call it, to conclusion, right? And helping people navigate the complexity, right? So that's really interesting. So what if you found now that you're more of an entrepreneur and you've got two businesses actually that you're
Mhm.
working on, growing and working with clients in two different very different spaces. You've got a tech company and then you've got a coaching company. So
Yeah.
talk about that.
So I think this goes back to so when I was learning coaching, I'm gonna take that and bring it forward.
Yeah, yeah.
At one point when I was doing, I think it was ACC. Yeah, it
Mhm.
was ACC,
This is the first
and
level
this is the first
of
level of ICF.
ICF, right?
There was a chapter we started on NLP. Okay. Now,
Oh, right.
NLP, if you ask me, the girl who always got a D in psychology class in college, there is no way in world I would understand in first go. So obviously it was difficult.
And
So
NLP is
neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically understanding your behaviors and patterns and really start to say, well, if we want to shape them or change them or tweak them, what kind of behavior do we really need to understand to be able to do that? Now,
yes,
this is layers underneath the layers underneath the layers of a human behavior.
yes,
Remember, I'm staying on the top always.
yes.
So there's that, and I'm up in the morning reading those chapters, trying again, trying again, trying again, trying to understand it because now I'm curious. At this point, I was curious. My day job, I was doing coding dojos, which is quite literally working with teams on extreme programming mindset. Okay. So my iterations for a team were 2 days. So you bring in a project, bring in a product feature, for example, you have to
Hmm.
code it, spin it, get it done with it, test it, and ship it the next day or 2 days after, right?
Right.
So very much hand holding, very much test-driven development, very much product, design on very extreme programming principles.
Hmm.
Two different worlds.
Very.
And I lived them in the same era. And I thought, because I think it activated my left and right brain, I thought I was on the top of the world. Like
Mhm.
I'm making the same money. The money was not the issue.
Right.
The excitement was I was getting to live both of these worlds and I was on a massive high, right?
Hmm.
And I ever since then, I've been meaning to create that high for me. So it is a very personal journey that I took. When I started my coaching business, cut to 2025, um, I was excited, I was loving it, but I wasn't getting that high. And I think my left brain and right brain has to work together to be able to satiate, to satisfy that need, that urge. And I'm equally passionate about both,
Hmm.
to a degree where I have a client who gets their true aha moment. I cry with them sometimes,
Hmm.
or I get very emotional,
Hmm.
to the same degree when we found a solution. I'll give you an example. When we built a solution, me and my partner, just over a weekend. We were like, okay, well, what if, we scanned a card, a business card, and we were able to send them an email? Wouldn't that be
Hmm.
easier? Because that'll take away a whole lot of that awkwardness or the time it takes for me
Yes.
to send the email. So we just did it. Oh, like we vibe coded it, right? That gives me a high. You see, so both of these things, they are, I've come to an agreement that they are true part of me.
Hmm.
They are the essence of my being, and I better learn to live with it. So I'm trying
Well, and
that.
that's kind of beautiful because rather than staying sort of swirling and stuck as to what is really going on, you really had a breakthrough and an aha that you do need both, right? As part of your essence. And I love that. That is really interesting that kind of you were able to break through and then now you've got multiple revenue streams, right? You've got things that you can do in the tech side, you've got things you can do on the coaching side. I think also one of the things that I believe you do a lot of coaching for people who are in transition and you have a passion for helping people through that liminal space when they have like career breaks and really helping them get that clarity. So as you're coaching them, and I'm sure you have a lot of different variety of coaching clients, but like What have you come up against with them as you're coaching them? Like some of the things that they struggle with, especially around money.
The biggest one that I've seen is there's there is an era not so long ago, especially after COVID, right until last year. There was a trend. The trend was, can we settle down? Can we calm the hell down for a minute?
Hmm.
Right? And a lot of people in that phase became comfortable with their job. Okay. Now, a lot of these people that are coming to me, this is just, the experience that I have. I'm not generalizing it by all means. But when they come back, they're saying, well, I got comfortable with the way I was earning. I don't mind. But now the market is asking something else from me. And I don't know if I have the energy or the ability or the excitement or enthusiasm to
Hmm.
go back and learn it. Now I'm stuck. Now, how do I move forward? How do I push, propel forward? Now,
Hmm.
there's reality. I need to still put food on the table, right?
Yes.
So I still need to make money. I still need to do things but I don't know if I have it in me to learn those things anymore.
Hmm. Is it things
So
like AI and how
AI,
and
exactly.
how to work with AI and
Yep.
because
Yep.
every company in the world is pushing AI, AI,
Exactly.
AI. Some of them don't even understand what their use cases are. Some of them make assumptions about people's skill sets and knowledge
Yeah.
base, and then there's the fear, right? The fear
Yes.
that AI is going to take my job, or agentic AI will take over my workflow that I manage, or where do I fit into that? I'm sure that's a big part of it, right?
It's a huge part of it. You're absolutely, you nailed it, right? And my goal with such clients of mine is really let's go back to who are you? What do you value? Where you're coming from. It's a bit hard for me to go back and take them back to the journey of let's talk about you first.
Hmm.
Forget that new technology or forget what is in front of you for a minute. Let's
Hmm.
understand, bring yourself back to your center so that at least we can stop spinning around the stressors of this world that has given to you in return of you just being you, right? So you got comfortable, now you're like, oh my God, I have to now run again. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know what I want to do. But I don't know what I want to do, Tracy, I think is the biggest opportunity a human being can ever have, right? Because I don't know what to do. The answer to that could be a massive business. The answer to that could be the next VP of a different company, which actually has the most best ideas. The world of possibilities are open in front of you. So I have my ways of just kind of going back
Yeah.
and really slowly, carefully calibrating
Yes.
what are your wins? Where are you? What is your narrative? And then based on that narrative, what are we going after now?
I love that. That's
In
great
terms of
coaching. That is
yeah.
great, fabulous coaching.
Thank you. Because and then the money comes after, right? I mean,
Yes.
and you've taught me this so well. The money is here. Find the money, right? It. I know we did this conversation a while back, and it stayed
Hmm.
with me. Find the money. It's here,
It's always
right?
there.
Do not submit. And what I learned from your conversation was, and I use that in my coaching. So thank you for that. Is that do not submit for what is tempting right in front of you. Still
Yes.
stick to your values. So the most important bit for me in a coaching conversation is to talk about values.
Hmm. Yes.
Relationship with money comes in fact, it probably, in my opinion, is a byproduct. Now that I've learned things the way I have,
I would
I don't
agree.
think it's a barter. I don't think it's the boundary. I think it's the wealth.
I agree. And I think you have to internally see the value in you and what you bring to the table so that you're not trading time for money and that you're providing some kind of a service and a benefit that and then, even like I've coached a lot of people to raise their prices. Like
Right.
you're
Right.
undervaluing yourself and your services. And even if you raise your price by $100, that signals to the universe that you feel worthy of $100 more in income,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so it might take you 20 seconds to do a task that takes somebody, 20 hours, right? But that
Right.
doesn't really matter in the end because your expertise, like I think about all the expertise you have, everything from product to agile to technology and data and all the experiences and all the different industries and domains that you've worked in, that is a valuable package that you bring to the table, right? And so layer on the coaching, right? And that right
Mhm.
brain, left brain that you've been able to develop. And so it's the total package of what you bring to the table, right? And then there's value in that, but you have to see that value in yourself before you can get someone to actually write the check or Venmo you the money, right?
Exactly.
Right. So,
Exactly.
but I agree with you. I think that values is really where you have to start and really ground yourself in like what are the most important things to you from a value perspective. And then I also find that when people are in situations, whether it's, a work environment or a home environment, usually it's a values conflict when things are out of sync that
Mhm.
they don't see that that is what is going on, whether maybe they work for a boss that doesn't have the same values as them. And so then I'll start to dig a little bit into like, okay, so you say your values are this. Does that person maybe not embody that or
Right.
demonstrate that to you? Right?
That's another thing. So that actually leads me to one more exercise that I always do with all my clients is your non-negotiables.
Mm.
Whenever you're going to the next gig, find out what it top five, just five, because you can't remember everything. Top five that you don't want to see in the new gig based on your learning. And go find out, however way you want to formulate it. Is it a question? Is it a discovery? Is it a research? Whatever it is that you need to do, you do that to make sure that you're those five, the top five are not in the new gig because then I can promise you that you will continue to look. If
Mm.
that's what you're going after, go for it. Yeah, and then there are candidates who do this, and it's amazing. Brilliant, go for it. More power to you. But if you're
Mhm.
looking for making growth happen, go find something that matches with your non-negotiables.
I love that because you may get a red flag in the interview process that you ignore because you're anxious about the money.
Yep.
But then if you know what your non-negotiables are, you're not going to ignore that red flag.
No, it's a funny story. I had a client. He was very skeptical about the non-negotiables. He said, "Rushi, I'm very malleable. Yeah, I'm good." But then I was like, "Oh, let's just do it anyways. And then if you don't
Yeah.
use it, totally cool." Well, comes back from an interview. Now he works there. Comes back from the interview and he goes, "Dude, I made sure it was in my head." And I was just
Mhm.
looking for signals. I didn't ask a single question pertaining to that because we never prepared for it. But he looked for those red flags.
Mhm.
And now he's working there. So my point I'm trying to make is even if you don't prep yourself to asking the questions, if you know them, good enough. Good enough for you to go figure. Now again, if your goal is that the growth that you're looking for in this next gig, or are you looking for an experience? Two different things, two different meanings. And again, I bring that out in the coaching conversations ahead of time just to make sure that I know where I'm going with it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, so we've come a far way. We've talked about growing up. We've talked about retail jobs. We've
Yeah.
talked about corporate jobs. We've talked about entrepreneurship. We've talked about the coaching work that you did. So if you were to just give somebody sort of a little, short TED talk on smart money, like what would it be based on? Because you've kind of run the gamut of like
Yeah.
a lot of really good experiences. A lot of challenges and then having to shift your mindset. So like when I say smart money and I talk about women, what is it that you think you want to have as like a leave behind for people?
Yeah, so I think it's not money, it's the wealth first. Let's change that thought process. It changed for me and it changed my world, right? No more a barter, no more yeah, it's no more a barter and there's no boundary. Okay. It's wealth. And I sat down with one of my coaches and in a podcast actually, and she said wealth is what you want, when you want it, with who you want it, how much ever you want it.
I love that.
Right? So again, if I'm exchanging time for money, I'm making money. Fine. Is that what you're comfortable with? I don't think so. Nobody wants it. Everybody wants that financial freedom at the end of the day, just so they can do what they want to do in their life. So it's all about wealth. And I think if I were to go back and give an advice to anybody, Money is equal to fear. If you think money, you're in fear, insecurity, instability, wanting more. Until I was wanting money out of my coaching, I wasn't going too far. The moment I changed my value system to start to say, look, I'm here to work with people who want to work and grow. I'm here with them. That's what it is. It's a partnership is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to help anybody. I'm not looking to do any favors, though I do free coaching, but that's different. That's, because if it's kids, I'll do it.
Yes,
Um, so it's really at the very bottom of it. It's my partnership with you. It's my value system with you. That's what I take forward, and that creates wealth because it's so I have two clients now from last year. They came back this year. That's my wealth because they came back and they said, look, Arushi, I've done this. Now I want to do this. Can we talk about this now? That's wealth because now I have a relationship, a friend for life in that. I have you as a friend, that's my wealth. And the more I create my wealth, money just is a byproduct. It follows. It has to follow.
I love that. I love that. And it's a mindset shift,
Mhm.
right? And so it is about the wealth of your relationships, the wealth of your partnerships, the wealth of the friendships and those helping people, really land their dreams, right?
Yes.
Because that's what you're really bringing to the table.
Mhm.
I loved when you sent me your bio. You said your mission is to make potential impossible to ignore, and I just love that. How did you like really land with that? That's really beautiful.
So it has a huge, it's got a deep story behind it. I think growing up, I've heard this thing about me that I love attention. I don't. And I think what had happened was because I said I don't, I
Mhm.
started to go behind the scenes. I started to sort of get into the fold, become a bit shy, try not to shine, try not to be the center of
Okay,
attention because I'm fighting that in my subconscious. I'm fighting that
right.
consistently. Every photo, I'll be in the backside. Every meeting, I'll sit in the back bench, you know.
Mhm.
And what I realized after I discovered my coaching business, and essentially when we co-founded Akikatak, well,
Mhm.
that's when I realized that, dude, my potential should not be hidden in the background. It is not, and it should not be anybody else's. Nobody in this universe should have this need or this desire to go and to sit in the backside. Bring your superpowers out, and your potential is your superpower. Let's go bring that to the forefront. Because
I love that.
everybody has that power. Everybody is massive, and it's the joy. I'm so emotional about it because what the hell was I doing behind the curtain all these years? So
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
this
Well, now
comes
here
from.
you are serving so many people and coaching and speaking and running workshops. And oh, and also just for our audience, Arushi has a podcast called Becoming. I was a guest on that. You have to watch on YouTube her podcast because her style of interviewing is phenomenal. Her guests
Thank
that she has
you.
brought on are amazing, amazing people
Thank
with
you.
amazing stories and experiences that we can all learn from. So I'm just so happy that you started your podcast and that you got your studio all set up. And I wish you nothing but the best, Arushi. And I want to thank you for being on this series and in this season of my podcast. I'm so grateful to have met you. I feel like we're kindred spirits here and we have so much in common. And I just, deep gratitude, Arushi.
Oh, thank you. I really truly appreciate not only did you come, and sit down with me on the podcast, you were just so kind and there was like you said, there was that energy and I still have it. It's very much alive right in this room. I think it's always there. I know we have more series to come between us this because there's I think with quite a few of the folks I can say I can talk to you forever. You're one of them. Because there's
Yeah.
just so much there. There's Joe Dispenza there. There is, you've had your money relationship. You've got coaching. Then we've got the tech background. You and I both have the similar kind of well, you have actually fantastic and fabulous stories, which I'm telling you, you should make a movie out of it. But we've just got so much there that I would love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we are going to put all of Arushi's contact information where you can find her. You can find her coaching business. You can find her tech company. All the links will be in the show notes. And I'm just super excited for this series to come out, this new season. And thank you so much for sharing your story, your experiences, and your sort of bottom line that it is all about wealth. That is just brilliant. I think that might be even the name of the episode.
It should be.
I
It's
think it's
all
all
wealth.
about wealth. It's
It's
all
all
about
about
wealth.
wealth. It
So,
really is. Of
yeah. So thank you so much.
course. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Smart Money. If you've enjoyed this conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone that you think needs it. These stories matter because the more we talk openly about money, the more we normalize women owning their financial journeys and shaping the future of finance and the world. You can find show notes and more episodes and connect with us on social. Until next time, remember, being smart with money isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. So these were real stories, real money, real power, because financial confidence starts with these conversations.